Is this line trimmer head going to change your life? Probably not. It sounded pretty cool, so we're gonna give it a crack. I just got back from Equip Expo in Louisville, Kentucky. It's a big outdoor power equipment show, the biggest in the world, super cool. One of the stands there I saw and was of great interest to me. I think it's pronounced Arnetoli, so I'm sorry if I butchered that pronunciation. But they had a stand there. They've got multiple different line trimmer heads. Hopefully we can try some more of them out. This is the first one that we are trying. It's their speed feed style with these interesting line shielders here, those little wings that they've got there. And the purpose of those, from what they're telling me, is you won't have that line breakage into the eyelet there, you know, where you're trimming, the stuff's flapping around at high speed and then it breaks off. You got to pull the head apart. A lot of the time it's technique, but it will happen to everyone at some stage. This supposedly alleviates that. If it does break off, I guess it stops it from flapping around as much. And if it does break off, it will break off on the side of these line shielders. So sounds cool in theory. The other thing they tell me is it's meant to have less vibrations than a speed feed, because it's mounting directly, like internally. I think like the spool is just in there, so this is actually essentially mounted to the line trimmer, whereas your spools in your other ones are kind of loose in there, so you get more vibrations. Again, I haven't tried this yet. I will be giving this thing a crack and seeing how it goes. They say the line will not weld together like it does in other machines, because that spool isn't flopping around in there as well. I believe that's what they said anyway. They definitely did say at least less line weldage. All these little problems that you can have with a line trimmer, annoying problems. Either way, it sounded interesting enough for me to bring one back. I will show you what I normally use. And these things are great. I've had great success with them. It's just a generic speed feed, one you get at your local lawnmower store. This is the smaller one, which is good for these smaller machines. You can get them for all types of machines. They've got adapters, even for curved shaft machines, and they work. And I like that the eyelet is quite close to ground level. That was the only thing that I kind of didn't like about this. The eyelet is higher, which just means that when you're doing that float pass, you're not getting down as low. So when you want to get down as low, you've then got to tilt it a bit. Makes it very easy to dig in, get uneven. I like it nice and low. Let me know in the comments, do you like it nice and low? A lot of them have it a bit higher up. It's about even with the stock steel head, but the speed feed is definitely lower, and that is what I like. We're semi-retiring this machine as well. This is Old Faithful, my FS94RC. This thing has been used and abused and anything else you can think of. Slightly loved. I use a lot of machines. I try pretty much everything. This is kind of Old Faithful to me. If I've got anything kind of unpredictable for the day, I love having this thing on board, but it's I think it's time for it to have a rest. I've had one sitting on the shelf for about 6 months, a brand new one, thinking that one was on its last legs, and I'm still semi-reluctant to bring it into the lineup because they just look so beautiful and shiny when they're new. Exactly the same machine. We are going to change the head though. I'll show you how easy it is to change the head. You'll see there's a little hole there. Just get a little tool that'll go down there. I've even used Allen keys sometimes. Just wait till it slots into place. You'll feel it sort of drop into a slot there. That'll lock it there, and then you can tighten it or loosen it. Now it's the opposite of what you would expect, so we're going to it's righty loosey, so clockwise to loosen it and just spin that off. Comes off very easily, and that's your stock head off. That is the Stihl what are they, AutoCut 26-2 I think, yeah, C26-2. That's the stock Stihl speed feed. It works. I find them a little bit annoying to ratchet up. I find when they get dirt in them pretty quickly, they just get tough to do. Definitely functional, just not my favorite. And that's what it looks like with the head off. Put the new head on anti-clockwise to put this thing on. Put your little tool in again, find that little notch. There's a little notch here. I can show you what it is. So if you take that cover off here, you'll see there's a little notch in there that spins around, and we're trying to find that notch there so we can kind of lock it and then tighten or loosen the head. Spin it on. Put your tool in there. There we go. I don't over tighten them. I don't know how tight you're meant to do them. I don't over tighten it. We are on, ready to go. We're running some 2.4 mil in here, I think. I actually haven't got any I've been using 2.4 a bit lately. Traditionally 2.7 I use. A machine like that with 2.4 in it is a bit of a weapon, but that is it. That's the head set up. Now the tricky part's going to be getting something to happen that doesn't really happen a lot to me anyway, just because I kind of know how to alleviate it. But I feel this is when it happens, and I'm talking about when the line breaks off in the eyelet. I feel like it's when you're at full RPM and just hammering something and you're not using the tip, and it's feel you start, you know, getting down here, and I just think it starts going like that, heats up and snaps off. That's my thoughts anyway. We're going to try and induce that somewhat here and just give it a general go in this longer stuff. We'll try and find some nicer actual edges to do some verticals with it as well. Maybe we can knock on someone's door randomly. Hey, can we do your edges? Let's get into it. I've got the lines slightly too long. You can just hear it. You can hear the machine slightly labouring. Let's go one click in. I feel there's a real sweet spot, and I feel it's not right where the guard cuts it off. I feel like it's just a tiny bit more. I don't run it crazy long. Works. It seems competent enough as in a head. Vibrations don't feel crazy or anything. Probably not the best comparison because of my old machine. I'm sure it probably vibrates more because it's a bit flogged out. It's definitely smoother, but again, we've got a combination of a new machine and head, so you would probably expect that anyway. Can definitely notice the lines up a bit higher. I had to tilt it there. It's not like that doesn't totally ruin the experience for me. It's just more a preference to have it a bit lower. I can still work it. But yeah, I want to try and see if we can induce some line breakage. Let's try and do that now. Here we go. That's what we wanted. That was what we wanted. Again, terrible technique there. I threw it straight into that plastic and not using the tip, just the whole head. The RPM was getting super high because the line was getting shorter and shorter, and then it swallowed the line, unfortunately, which means we're going to take the head off, which is what you're trying to avoid, and what these things are meant to avoid. That was quite extreme. I would never really trim like that, I will say. It was something we were trying to induce. Head wasn't too bad to get off. That's what I was talking about earlier, you know, the less vibration supposedly because the spool is actually connected to there, whereas, you know, in a speed feed it normally comes off separately. Oh, there we go. That was easy enough. Not much line on here. We might be moving to the 2.7 in a minute. We probably should. Definitely a fan at the show of how easy this was to get the line through. I was able to do it without even looking. Look at that, straight through. I'm not putting a bucket load on here, especially when the line's a bit thicker, like a 2.7. I just think it's harder on the machine, so ratchets up very easily. So that's definitely a win. Let's see if we can get this to break off again. Tell you what, I was wearing it for you guys. I wasn't planning on coming out and doing a line trimming video, but look at that. Cop some line in the thigh there. Normally I'm wearing pants. That was a bit more successful, as I assume it's meant to go anyway. We had breakage, but it was much higher on the line. Yeah, I don't know, like I'm doing something that I normally wouldn't be doing, so kind of hard to get a real gauge. So we might just continue with some real world usage. I did pinch some 2.4 from the stock steel head. Quite a long piece. Those say that about the steel one. That's quite a bit of line it can hold. Let's see if the Arnetoli can hold the same amount. Always a bit more awkward winding up line when it's been in and around. I think 2.4 was a good number for this particular machine. I do run it with 2.7 sometimes, but it just does sound like it's a little laboured to me, particularly this square stuff. What do you use at home? That's just, yeah, pure 2.4 round line. I think that's more than enough for most domestic applications. So there are very few lawns around here that you would even describe as a lawn. I'm not saying that like in a critical way, it's just like a preparation thing. I feel like the lawn just gets slapped on clay and you just see these compacted messes. This one's not too bad. Got some cooch, need some edges trimmed. Let's see if we can do it. You don't see a lot of cooch around here. It's either buffalo or kikuyu, and it's usually malnourished. G'day mate, how are you? I just saw your lawn. I was going to ask you, do you mind if I edge it up for you, get it nice and crispy? Yeah, no charge, I just make videos. I've got a tool to test out.
No, I like to pay you.
No, you don't have to pay me. You're helping me out. I'm looking for somewhere. You've got some edges here that I could clean up and I need to test. I've got a new whipper snipper head. Thanks mate, what's your name?
Mabu.
Mabu?
And you?
I'm Tim, nice to meet you. Nice guy wanted to pay me. I'd probably normally use a blade edger on these edges just to set them. There's a bit of thickness there. The gentleman just asked me, there's an absolutely beautiful cooch lawn, one of the very few in this neighbourhood down on the corner. I'll do a drive-by of it and show you on the way back. Same type of grass here, and he's like, why doesn't mine look like that? So he's obviously making an effort. He's cutting it regularly enough. It's gone a bit to seed here. But yeah, the one on the corner is cut much lower, much more regularly. This needs, yeah, I would be cutting this right back to the dirt. Maybe a little bit of top dress just to address any low spots, and then nice new growth will come back if you feed and water it. We were just looking for somewhere with some edges to trim with this trimmer head. We've stumbled into a lawn renovation, so I will make another video on that. Won't be doing that today, but we're going to get this lawn looking beautiful for him. I've got a lot of time for people that are willing to have a crack. There's not a lot of people in my area that are all that passionate about their lawns. So anytime I do see someone, I'm more than happy to give them as much information as possible because it's all pretty simple. More than happy to try and encourage them along the way. But yeah, let's see how this head goes with some vertical edges, which is a favorite of mine. Nice and defined. The best tool for this job is definitely a blade edger. To set the edge, you're just going to get a nice crisp result. Obviously we're testing something here. You can absolutely do it with a line trimmer, get good results. You're not going to beat a blade edger. It's always going to get a straighter, easier cut really, especially with something like cooch. It's a bit fluffy where the line can get caught up in it and rip and tear. Very easy to make mistakes on that. The head's feeling good though. Yeah, I guess the best advertisement for it is that, yeah, just normal work. It feels good. I feel like it is less vibratey than the other ones. I don't really have the issue with the line breaking off, so hard to really say how that'll go. I'm going to use it long term. I'm going to leave it on for Free-Mo Fridays and really give it a hard test. Yeah, overall there's not much I'm not liking about it so far. We did flirt with absolute disaster here with the rocks that were in the grass. Please don't ever do that if you're landscaping. Little rocks next to a grass area is just a recipe for disaster. I do like this head so far. Haven't used it a lot. Like I said, we'll use it in Free-Mo Fridays. I will make another video when I've used it for a couple of months, giving it an absolute hiding. If you've got any questions about it, let me know in the comments. What head do you use? Let us know in the comments as well. What head do you use for your trimmer at home, or if you're a contractor, what do you use at work? It's really helpful. It's really helpful when we do get that feedback in the comments. I've learned so much from the comments. I'm sure a lot of you have learned so much from comments. We've just scored ourselves another video for Turf and Tools, the renovation series on this couch. I'm actually looking forward to that. I don't know when I'm going to squeeze it in. I've got a million things to do, but it's only a very small lawn, so definitely needs a nice hard cut back though. Thank you for watching. I'll be at the turf farm tomorrow, so we should have a video for my lawn at home very soon. Lots going on there. See you next time.